tennis elbow last year from paddling. And my physio said, you have to do these little twists here and then do the stretch and da-da-da. You got to do that every day. I said, in the morning? She goes, yeah, that's fine. So I do a pour over coffee. I get up, one eye is glued shut. I managed to get over to the coffee. We don't have a coffee maker, we have a pour over, so it's a process. And it takes like a minute where I fill it up again, and a minute. That's my habit every morning. I never start my day without that coffee routine. Well, now I have a physio routine while the coffee's doing. I stack the habit on top of the existing habit. I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but you're brushing your teeth every night. It's a pretty solid habit. There's your time to Kegel. I have no idea why I looked at you and what would Annette tell me to do? She would say, Brian, you need to Kegel more. Okay, well, my toothbrush, that'll work. The flip side of the identity coin. The flip side of this coin, pros and cons, we've heard the cons. The pro is, I want to cycle more. I want to participate in some rides that are coming up, maybe the one Ottawa to Brockville tomorrow. One way to develop that habit is to identify as a cyclist. Rather than I'm going for a ride, you think of yourself as a cyclist. Yes, I shave my legs because I'm a cyclist. Okay, but a cyclist rides their bike, and that's just who I am. I ride. And it's much easier to build a habit of riding on a regular basis so you're ready to do that paramedic ride later on if you identify as a cyclist. And that's pretty powerful, and that's the safer flip side of that coin. When it doesn't serve you well anymore, well, we appreciated Jordan's story about how identity can take you down too. So, but you can use it for good, not evil. Gretchen says clarity of why you're doing the habit or the routine. That's going to work well with questioners, right? If you're a questioner, focus, go down this rabbit hole. Convince yourself this is absolutely what I need to do. If you don't, you'll fall off the wagon. You won't commit yourself to that habit or that routine. My wife needs a workout partner. She needs to be accountable to someone that she doesn't let down, because she's an obliger. She goes, it is cold. And you know the spring we had, that winter just kept on going until, so she's like, okay, Katie wants to go for a walk, and it's usually like an hour and a half speed walk. Katie's 6 foot tall, my wife is my height. She's like, well, she's going. I said, well, if you don't feel like it, you don't have to go all the time. She goes, no, but Katie's expecting me to go. And so she's going with her, and her feet are doing this, and Katie's like, I was like, okay, but she doesn't want to let Katie down. Perfect walking partner, because she almost never abandons that routine. Have you heard of the Hawthorne effect? I had to Google it. I remember hearing about it, but I couldn't recall it, so I used the Googleizer. The mere fact that you measure or monitor something will change your behavior. Imagine getting a glass of water and you take the thermometer, really big thermometer, out of the freezer, pop it into the room temperature water. Have you changed the temperature of the water? You put a super cold hunk of glass in a little bit of water, you've changed the temperature. Measuring the temperature of the water just changed the temperature of the water. Monitoring your habits has just changed your habit formation. That works for most personality types, especially red. So red people, or so you can use, for example, I like using old school calendars. It's like, okay, I want to make sure I brush my teeth. Yep. On the 7th, no, I didn't brush my teeth. That's a way to monitor something. Sure. Some people, now if this may be just what a yellow could handle. That lampshade on the head kind of person is like, ooh, it's not important to be structured, but let's make sure we're all having a good time. That might be just enough for them. They may not like, that's my logbook. That's actually my logbook from March.
I'm so very sorry. Wow.
That's what I need. People are like, hi, Brian, you're like the most disciplined guy I know. Yeah, because I have strategies. I'm trying to figure out, how do I drink less beer? And I have to put it down. No one sees. I have this stuff from decades ago. Actually, I trash it at a certain point. I keep about 6 months to a year's worth so that I know I can embarrass myself by going back in time and going, oh my God, December was just a complete train wreck, Brian. It was a dumpster fire. But I'll do stuff like, this is all my physio stuff. I would never do a side twist, hip flexor, and rotations. If I don't have that down and don't tick it off, I'm off watching YouTube, I'm doing other things, mowing the lawn. So this is very much my blue personality. That computer science nerd needs this. No one reads this. No one looks at my logbook. Remove friction from trying to develop routines. So what they mean is just make it super convenient. I don't like eating salads, but if my wife makes one, I'll eat it. How convenient is that? She doesn't like mowing the lawn. I'll do that for her, but she'll just remind me to mow the lawn. How convenient for her. And she also talks about reward, and the same caution applies. Make sure that reward is not undermining the actual, like, oh, I brushed my teeth again tonight. Well, fantastic, let's have some candy. Well, you're gonna have to brush your teeth again. I used convenience, I had to make stuff easy. So believe it or not, my beer fridge was in the basement. I put all my beer in the beer fridge. No beer, that's the only rule I made when I wanted to change my habit. I said, I'm not gonna have any beer in the actual kitchen fridge. Inconvenient to walk down a set of stairs to my basement to get a beer. Cut my beer consumption in half. Just that little bit of friction was enough for me to go, I'll get another beer. Oh, I gotta go downstairs. Never mind. Relied on my own laziness to keep me on track. Oh, and monitoring. Brutal monitoring. It's that. This was brutal. If it went in my mouth, I wrote it down. After a few weeks of that, I'm like, I want a 0 week. Because I'm about the numbers. No one's seeing it. It's like, come on, I'm gonna have a beer. I deserve a beer. 1 beer on Friday night. Come on. But I really want a 0 week. Here's where I kind of think it lines up with the atomic habits and those personality types. I think it would work for blue type personalities, the questioners in the room who really, I'm skeptical of all this stuff. Let me do my own research. Finding out why, going down those rabbit holes to convince yourself this is what you should do. The pillars of society, the greens, the empathetic ones, the ones that are team players, and the obligers who will always meet their commitments to other people and give up their own. Accountability. Having an accountability partner, that helps. Having a training partner, if that's what you're for exercise. Having someone you pay to be a coach that's going to review your nutritional log, that could work. Doesn't really work when it's a YouTube thing that you're watching and they're not getting feedback from you, it's all one way. That may not work for a green obliger. would work maybe for a red, because they just want the information. Let's go, let's go. Okay, I got my goal here. Am I getting closer to my goal? And they can kind of block out everything else. The rebel is a real, not that there's a lot of them out there. The rebel is really hard to form habits, but that's their secret weapon. Is the rebel needs to attach to an identity. Habit stacking, that works for any personality. There's it's kind of a convenient thing that works for everybody. There's the Easter egg. It kind of like was a light bulb when I actually did a Venn diagram. And I looked and I went, oh, that looks like a badge, a shoulder badge for a first responder. So now, it's part of that little cues that Atomic Habits talks about, setting up cues to invoke a habit or routine. When you see a shoulder patch, you're thinking habit formation. So that'll cue you to go, oh, am I supposed to be doing, oh yeah, I'm supposed to Kegel while I'm doing. You can use that as a little thing. So there you go. That's my presentation. Let's eat.